let's talk to our next guest. He's Josh Williams. He's Director of Strategy at Labour Together. Good morning to you, Josh.
Good morning.
Thank you very much indeed. Look, we've gone through what actually happened last night in the Commons, chaotic scenes and the like. We've now got 55, probably already, it's gone up, 56 MPs now signing this motion saying they've got no confidence in Sir Lindsay Hoyle. What do you think happened? Why do you think that the Labour motion was allowed? Why do you think Lindsay Hoyle felt pressured to do so? And who's at fault?
So I think Lindsay Hoyle tried to do the right thing yesterday, and I actually think that he did do the right thing yesterday. This is an incredibly complex, difficult matter, what is happening in Gaza with a broad range of views. It is right in that situation to give MPs the opportunity to vote on a series of different amendments, and that's what he tried to do. The reason that we then didn't have the SNP voting on the motion that they put through is because they threw their toys out of the pram. So the reason there wasn't a debate...
Because that's not true, Josh. Once the amendment for the Labour Party amendment had been voted on, that changed the wording effective of the SNP motion. Their motion didn't exist anymore. That's why they didn't have a vote. You know as well as I do, those parliamentary precedents are there for a reason. It's so a bigger opposition party like Labour can't hijack a smaller opposition party's 3 days. They only get 3 days of leading those debates and putting those motions. And Labour hijacked it because they didn't want to... look, the SNP had the motion because they wanted to put Labour in a bind ahead of local elections and the general election. And Labour basically outmanoeuvred them. But this was all just politicking.
Well, I actually don't think it was politicking on the part of Labour.
Really?
I genuinely think that the amendment that Labour put down was a pragmatic one that was focused on what is the real situation in Gaza right now and what should the British government be saying. And that is what the Labour Party was trying to do. I think it's perfectly fair for Labour and the other parties to talk to the Speaker before a big debate like that and make their case. So I think that we ended up having the right debate, but then we had it in the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of that is how most voters will see it. Chaotic scenes. I was saying a bit earlier, I don't mind chaotic scenes in the Commons. My goodness, 2019 we had enough of those, didn't we? Democracy survived. Democracy hopefully will always survive. And democracy can be messy. What happened behind the scenes, though, is what is still up for debate. So Lindsay Hoyle has said he felt he was doing the right thing. He's apologised to the House. He's now facing, it's up to 57 MPs, largely Tory and SNP MPs, calling for him to go. He basically says, look, there was pressure on MPs, there were threats, worries about this. The debate on all three motions should have gone ahead and the vote on that. It was against precedent. He went against what the clerk of the House told him was the normal rules and why they are there. Lots of people are claiming, he has denied this, both in personal conversations and publicly, that he was pressured. But an awful lot of good sources speaking to journalists who've been around for a very long time, and a lot of people are saying that Labour Party pressure did go on to Lindsay Hoyle, and basically it was, we need to have this, it will make Keir Starmer look bad if a load of his MPs, possibly even half of them, 100 MPs rebel. If you don't do this, we're not going to elect you as Speaker next time round, and we will even challenge you in your seat where you stand as an independent. Can you be very sure that none of those three things happened?
There is an enormous amount of spinning going on. The political game playing that started yesterday is continuing today. So I don't think that we should set all that much store by all of the spin that we're hearing at the moment. I think what happened was that Lindsay Hoyle was given an incredibly difficult situation. Yes, he got advice from the clerk, but Margaret Thatcher said that advisors advise and politicians decide. And Lindsay Hoyle had to decide what he thought was the right thing to do. And I think he did the right thing. And what we're now seeing is a continuation of the political games that we saw last night.
But isn't the reality here that it is Sir Keir Starmer and his advisors who have basically given in to the mob that's outside Parliament, that is making threats to MPs, and basically say, look, if MPs vote the wrong way, in their view, if they don't vote for a ceasefire, and they would have been seen if they didn't vote for the SNP motion as not supporting a ceasefire, and then would be called genocidal, whatever, warmongers, as I am called every single day online, he was trying to save their skins from that. At the end of the day, he allowed the mob to decide what happened in Parliament. Should that happen in a democracy?
I really don't think that is what happened.
Isn't it?
I think that the SNP amendment had serious flaws with it. So the idea that Israel has been prosecuting collective punishment on the Gazans is absolutely wrong. And so it's right that the Labour Party did not support that position and laid down an amendment that clearly set out what Keir Starmer thinks is the right thing to do.
I would certainly agree with you
Gaza.
on that, yes.
Yeah, so I think he was trying to set down what's the right thing to do on the ground in Gaza right now. And I do think that a ceasefire, but one that forces both sides to lay down their weapons and does not accuse the Israelis of collective punishment, I think that's the right position. I don't think that's falling to the mob.
Just finally, do you think Sir Lindsay Hoyle will survive as Commons Speaker? A very much liked figure. I mean, I know him personally well. I think he's a very honourable man. He looked quite tearful when he was making that apology yesterday. It doesn't go down very well, certainly with the SNP and indeed with Tory MPs. 57 MPs, I mean, it's going up by an MP every couple of minutes, have now signed this early day motion saying they've no confidence in him. Do you think he survives?
I sincerely hope he does. I think he's a good, honourable man who was put in a difficult situation and made the right decision yesterday.
Yeah, who put him in the difficult situation? There we are. Josh Williams, Director of Strategy at Labour Together. Thank you for your thoughts.